Thinking traps are very common types of automatic interpretations we make that can get us stuck in negative thinking that isn't always entirely true. These kinds of thoughts can feed emotions like fear, anxiety, depression, or anger, often making our emotions feel more intense or even out of control. They're not inherently bad or wrong, but they do reduce our flexibility when we encounter certain situations, and they can intensify negative emotions. It's helpful to label our thinking traps because it gives us an opening to start thinking more flexibly about the situation at hand.
Oh, okay.
So, getting back to the interaction with your boss from last week, when you received the feedback, you may have been engaging in thinking traps.
Really?
Yes, because as you said, you latched onto the bad information you received.
Yeah, it was like the criticisms were in bold and then the compliments were in like a tiny faded font. And my brain just kept like replaying the negative things over and over again.
And what happened when you kept replaying those parts?
Well, that's when I started to spiral and my brain jumped from he didn't like the presentation to what if he's not happy with my overall performance, and then from then it went to what if I'm not cut out for this job, and then eventually it went to I think I'm going to get fired.
That's a scary thought, to feel like you're going to get fired. And it's a powerful example of how an emotional reaction can fuel a chain of thoughts that grows more and more negative. It shows how our minds can fall into some common thinking traps. For example, when you went from the specific feedback to he's not happy with my overall performance, that's jumping to conclusions. You assumed you knew exactly what he was thinking, even though there was evidence to the contrary, the positive comments he made. Then, when your mind leaped all the way to, I'm going to get fired, that's a classic case of catastrophizing. You took the situation and your mind automatically jumped to the absolute worst case scenario.
Yeah, that sounds about right. When you put it like that, it sounds kind of extreme.
It can seem that way from a distance, but in the moment, those thought patterns feel very real. They often happen automatically, like well-worn paths our brain takes, especially when we're feeling vulnerable or under pressure. In our work together, a big first step is just practicing noticing when your mind is heading down one of those paths.
Okay, I've definitely felt stuck in that cycle of negative thoughts before.
Right. And it's important to remember that this automatic quality of our thinking isn't always a bad thing. In fact, our brains rely on these mental shortcuts all the time. Think about driving a familiar route. You're not consciously thinking, okay, now press the brake, now check the mirror. Your brain just does it automatically, freeing you up to think about your day or listen to the radio. Those automatic thoughts are incredibly helpful. The challenge, and what we'll explore here, is learning to tell the difference. We want to build the skill of distinguishing between the helpful automatic thoughts that guide you safely to your destination and the unhelpful ones that drive you into a ditch of anxiety. And the very first step is always just noticing the thought in the first place.
Okay, but what exactly should I be looking for? Are there like common ones that I should be aware of?
That's the perfect next question. Thinking Traps in MindLamp go over a list of common thinking traps. The reason it's so helpful to get familiar with these is that giving a name to a pattern makes it easier to spot. When you can label a thought as, say, catastrophizing or all or nothing thinking, it stops being a big, scary personal truth and becomes a recognizable mental habit. Naming it takes away some of its power and gives you a crucial moment of separation, which is the first step to not letting it control you.